Today on Knife Banter, we're talking about every possible automatic knife you could want. Let's talk knives. How's it going, guys? And welcome to our automatic knife buyer's guide. If you have been in the market for an automatic knife, we've got the answer on the table for sure. We are going to be going through these knives from low to high. We have a bunch on the table. And as always, make sure to check the website for current pricing. All the prices we mentioned in the video are accurate at the time of filming. You guys know how it goes. All right, so our first knife on the table, starting low to high, comes in at $27.99, and this is the Schrade Extreme Survival. Now, this automatic knife has an overall length of about 7.8 inches, a blade length of 3.2 inches. It's a 41/16 steel, so it's not a super steel by any measure, but it is, a $28 knife. Spear point blade with an aluminum handle, and it weighs in right around 3.5 ounces. So it's not a super heavy knife for being an inexpensive automatic knife. It's got nice snap, and something that's kind of neat, you get the glass breaker that comes along with it, and you get this nice deep carry pocket clip. So kind of a nice entry from Schrade when you're down in that lower price range. Now you'll notice with some of the automatic knives on the table, they lean towards EDC, or they'll lean towards tactical, or they'll even lean towards a particular trade maybe. This one falls pretty squarely in the middle of like EDC or tactical. At $27.99, don't know if I would bet my life on it, but could make a great carry knife with that glass breaker and the deep carry pocket clip. Now, moving from that lower priced Schrade, it puts us in the Boker family. Now, Boker, as you guys know, has a ton of different automatic knives, and when we're talking about this low range of autos, if you've been in the market for a very affordable automatic knife, to be honest, Boker automatics are the way to go. And the tried and true classic of that automatic family is the Boker Kalashnikov. So the Boker Kalashnikov has a 7.6 overall length, 3.25 inch blade. It's an AUS-8 blade on this particular one. They do come in different blade steels. This one has a dagger blade version. They do come in different blade shapes as well. Aluminum handle, and it weighs in right around 3.7 ounces. So again, not a super heavy knife. Now the cool thing with the Kalashnikov is at Blade HQ, we do a ton of exclusives with these things. So you can find them in different color variations, you can find them in different blade materials. I mean, you name it, we've done it with the Kalashnikov. The Kalashnikov also comes with a really nice deep carry pocket clip, and honestly, just tried and true action. I know many of our normal viewers on Blade HQ own Kalashnikovs. I own a handful myself. Most of us here at Blade HQ own Kalashnikovs. If you want the full story on these, we actually have a video where we dive into some hard use stories featuring the Boker Kalashnikov. Great little automatic knife from Boker, and you can pick these up starting at $42.95. So again, nice low price bracket, very, very reliable. Now, the Kalashnikov, even though it has a very tactical name, probably falls a little more in that EDC category. When we move on from the Kalashnikov, now we're stepping a little more into that tactical territory. So this is the Boker Strike. So with the Boker Strike, very similar story. We have them in different blade steels, different handle colors, all sorts of variations. This one has the combo blade. Obviously they come with not a combo blade. Your overall length on the Strike is 7.8 inches. 3.25 inch blade, very similar to Kalashnikov in blade length. It's an AUS-8 blade on this particular model. Again, tons of blade flavors. This is a Tonto blade, aluminum handle, and it comes in at 4.7 ounces. So this one comes in a little bit heavier than the Kalashnikov and just a little bit bigger than the Kalashnikov as well. So your blade length is going to be the same as the Kalashnikov, but your handle is going to be a little bit bigger. Just a little bit of a burlier knife with the Boker Strike. The other neat thing with the Strike is that you get a lock. So if that's something that you're looking for on an automatic knife, you do have that lock where you can lock it. And when that lock is engaged, the knife will not fire, which is a nice thing if you are worried about it going off in your pocket. I personally can't say that I've ever had that problem with an automatic knife, but I have had experiences where it's nice to have a lock on my knife. So if you're moving things around a lot and you're resting, boxes or motor parts or whatever it may be that you're using on your knee or your leg, you could press that button down. And so having a lock on automatic knife is not a horrible option, again, depending on what your needs are. Now, those go for $42.95 as well. So those price right at the same range as the Kalashnikov, a little more heavy duty, a little more tactical, and come in just as many blade variations and color variations as you'll find with the Kalashnikov. Now next up is a fairly new entry when we're talking about the Boker automatic knife line. This is the Boker Kompakt. Now this is a Jesper Voxnäs design, overall length of 5.25 inches, and that blade is a 1.8 inch blade. Now with automatic knives, you might find that there are restrictions in your area. Automatics aren't legal in every single state, and then there are certain size restrictions for automatics in other states. At 1.8 inches, the Kompakt may or may not be legal in your area. Always check your local laws, we're not lawyers. But it does make it more readily available to more areas in the United States. This has an AUS-8 blade on it, this drop point blade style, aluminum handle, and comes in at 2.1 ounces. So a nice light knife with a sturdy aluminum handle. This thing has awesome snappy action. And when you're talking automatic knives, there are a few things that I always look for in a good automatic knife. I want to make sure, one, that it's sturdy, that it can take the work I'm going to put into it, and two, how good is the action. If the action's really lazy, it always makes me worry that the spring is going to break or that it's just not a very strong knife. It's not a very good knife. And this Boker Kompakt, even with that little blade, that thing just flies right open. The Kompakt also comes in this really awesome kind of two-tone black and blue colorway, and then nice thin deep carry pocket clip. So a nice light EDC knife. You know, like I said, we went from the Kalashnikov to that Strike, very heavy tactical, right down to a very, very EDC knife. Great box cutter, great for opening Amazon packages, whatever you might find need for. And then that goes for $44.95 on the website, the Kompakt does. Now, moving on into a bigger knife, but still very squarely in the EDC world, you get this Lucas Burnley designed Boker Kihon. Now the Kihon goes for $49.95. If you'll notice, all four of these Boker automatic knives we've shown have fallen under $50. So again, if you're looking for a budget automatic knife, you really don't have to look any farther than the Boker automatic line. It's just incredible. Now with the Boker Kihon, like I said, Lucas Burnley design, overall length of 7.75 inches, so a much longer knife. 3.25 inch blade, similar blade length to your Strike and your Kalashnikov. This one has an AUS-8 blade with drop point style, aluminum handle, and 3.24 ounces. So weighing in very similar to your Kalashnikov. Very, very similar to the Kalashnikov in a lot of ways. It's the construction's obviously very similar. It's from Boker. That action is nice and snappy, which again, something I personally look for and a lot of people look for in their automatic knives. But the styling's a little bit different with the Kihon. You get a nice subtle pocket clip, not deep carry, so it does allow you to put a lanyard on that and allow access at the top of your pocket a little bit more. And just a great Lucas Burnley design. This goes for, again, $49.95 on the website. Now, moving out of that Boker family of automatic knives, because again, it's a dynasty, really. We step into the AKC, this is the X-Treme Ace automatic knife. And this is a little bit more of a stiletto style knife. Overall length is 8.5 inches, so a little bit longer than some of the ones we've been looking at, with a blade length of 3.6 inches. So again, a little more blade than we've seen so far. This is a spear point AUS-8 blade, aluminum handle, and 3.34 ounces. So even though it is a little bit of a larger knife, it doesn't add a lot of weight, and that's because of the aluminum chassis it rides on. Really great little knife. You get this nice wide pocket clip, goes in and out of the pocket nice and easily, and then again, some of those classic Italian stiletto design to it. AKC makes some really great knives. They are kind of a budget brand, and with a budget brand, sometimes you have to be careful, but this X-Treme Ace auto is one of those really good, affordable autos that they make, and this one goes for $64.99 on the website. Now, a lot of the knives that we've shown have really good action. The Boker knives in particular have a really great warranty. Jumping into this kind of next series of knives is the Boker Launch series. Now, we can't show you all of the Boker Launch knives. To be honest, we'll probably do a video featuring just the Boker Launch knives because there's 12 of them. And it's literally Launch 1 through Launch 12. There's 12. There's a ton of them. And then tons of variations within each of those. But this particular one is the Launch 4. Now, this is made in the USA. Great reliable action, incredible warranty. Goes for $74.95. It's got an overall length of 5.1 inches and an overall blade length of 1.9 inches. So again, with that shorter blade being under 2 inches, it makes it more accessible for more people around the United States. Always check your local laws. This is a spear point blade, CPM 154. If you'll notice, most of the knives that we've talked about so far had an AUS-8 blade. Some of those Boker families come in variations with a D2 blade, which is really nice. But the Kershaw comes stock with the CPM 154 blade, aluminum chassis, and it comes in right at 1.9 ounces. So again, a very light knife. Now, if you've never seen a launch before, you might be seeing this and say, man, that's like a little stubby knife. It's not really worth much. It's not a very good knife. The reason this is on the table is in the Kershaw Launch knives, again, there's 12 of them with different variations, each of those 12. This is the best-selling Kershaw automatic knife. So if you've never handled a Kershaw before and you want to get an auto, the Launch 4 is pretty dang sweet. Even with people who have bigger hands, the Launch 4 tends to be a really good box cutter, just a really good utility blade. And you can pick up the Launch 4 on the website for $74.95. Now, moving on to just one of the other variations, other popular variations in the Launch series, you have the Kershaw Launch 1. Again, all made in the United States, incredible warranty. This particular one has an 8-inch overall length, a 3.37-inch blade. It's a clip point CPM 154 blade with an aluminum chassis, and it comes in right around 3.95 ounces. So a great entry from Kershaw. Again, that kind of nice wide pocket clip. Not exactly a deep carry. Still, it goes to about mid of the knife here, but does allow a lot of the knife out of the top. A lot of people prefer a deep carry pocket clip just because it does conceal the knife better. So if you're in a work environment or whatever and you don't want to necessarily show off the knife you're carrying. But the Launch series is one of those series that you kind of can show your knife off a little bit. So Kershaw Launch 1, this goes for $99.95 on the website, so just under $100. Most of the Launch series falls under that $100 mark, and we'll make sure to show a couple of those off in some B-roll shots so you can get an idea of kind of Launch 1 through 12, what they look like. Now, stepping up from the Launch series, we've seen a lot of good, even the Launch series falls kind of in that budget range of knives. And this next knife on the table steps up kind of from the budget world into the kind of upper production world. And this is the ProTech Sprint automatic knife. Now, I gotta fire that again. When we're talking snappiness, nobody does it better than ProTech. You can just hear how snappy that thing is. Now, this little guy here, obviously very reminiscent of either the Kompakt or the Launch 4 that we've already looked at. This has got an overall length of 5 inches. It's got a blade length of 1.95 inches. It's a spear point blade in CPM S35 VN, aluminum handle, and a 1.65 ounce weight limit. So this is honestly, from everything we've seen on the table, a huge step up. This is ProTech Knives, made in the United States. Again, another great company with a great warranty. Dave Wattenberg is the founder, owner, operator of ProTech Knives. He's a great guy. We actually have some videos on the channel featuring shop tours and featuring some of Dave's story. Make sure to check those out. And stepping up from a 154 or a D2 into an S35 VN blade, and this knife comes in at $110. So pretty incredible automatic knife for the money. Again, smaller knife, right? More of a utility blade, more of an EDC knife, but a great knife from ProTech. And this does come with a nice deep carry pocket clip from ProTech. So again, if you're looking to be able to conceal your knife a little bit better, not show off you're carrying a pocket knife or an automatic knife, the ProTech Sprint is a great option. Now, a brand that doesn't get a lot of attention usually on the main channel, but since we're talking automatic knife buyer's guide, it has to be included, is the Piranha knife brand. Now, this is the Piranha P-1. This is just the P-1 automatic knife from Piranha Knives. And Piranha does some really cool work. So we're based out of Utah, and Piranha is made in Idaho, so they're basically our neighbors, just the state above us. And this particular knife comes in at 7.3 overall inches, a 3.2-inch blade. This has a drop point 154 cm blade, aluminum handle, and comes in at 2.3 ounces. So when we're talking about how big this knife is and coming in at 2.3 ounces, this is a very, very light knife for what you're getting. And Piranha does a really good job with that nice, snappy action. It doesn't quite hit as hard as the ProTech, but man, this thing flies open. Nice pocket clip, just a nice wide, sturdy pocket clip that you're gonna get with that. And then Piranha always has these really interesting design cues. So specifically, their logo and the words that they use, right, that they put on the blade and everything, all of it is very unique to Piranha blades. So great knife from Piranha. This goes for $114.95, so $115 on the website, and Piranha has a ton of entries. So if that style of knife catches your eye, check out the Piranha category. We'll have a link down in the description, and you'll be able to find some incredible entries from them. Now next up is a knife from Hogue Knives. Now Hogue Knives started as Hogue Grips. So Hogue, the company, makes a lot of firearms accessories and things of that nature. And they started making knives 10, 15 years ago, something like that. And they've made some really cool entries. So this particular one is a smaller entry. Comes in right at $114.99, very similar, I think the exact same price as that Piranha. And this is the Hogue A01 Microswitch. Now overall length on this is 5.8 inches. The blade length is 1.8 inches. It's got a CPM 154 Wharncliffe blade, aluminum handle, and a 2.7 ounce weight. Now, this is kind of an interesting knife. You can see that it has this bear on here, and this is meant to be a California legal knife because it is below 2 inches. So like I said, depending on where you live, check your local laws. That under 2 inch might allow you to carry an automatic knife in your area. Now, this is an interesting knife from Hogue. You'll notice with, we'll just grab the Sprint. You'll notice with a lot of these smaller bladed knives, you'll get the smaller handle. But with the Hogue knife, you get more of a full-sized handle, and the reason is exactly that. So you can get more of a purchase on the knife. You've got nice jimping along the back of the spine that does allow for that purchase. And then because they've given you all this handle, they also have a built-in bottle opener, which I think is kind of fun. This particular one has a two-way reversible pocket clip, just a nice Hogue pocket clip. Nice and sturdy. If I remember correctly, I think it even comes with an extra pocket clip in the packaging. And then this knife has a lock. So you'll notice a lot of the ones we've shown so far don't have a lock, but this particular Hogue does have a lock. One thing that's nice with automatic knives is when the lock is in an easy place to access and doesn't get in the road of the function of the knife. And I think Hogue and the other knife that we had on the table that had the lock on it the Strike, the Boker Strike, I think both of them do a pretty excellent job at a very easy to actuate lock that doesn't get in the road and allows you to fire your knife. And like I said, that knife goes for 115 bucks on the website. Now, we've looked at a handful of knives that really do fall kind of under that EDC category. Now we kind of jump into something that walks the line between EDC and tactical. This is the SOG Spec Elite II. An overall length of 7.8 inches. It's got a 3.5 inch blade, so a little extra blade than some of the other stuff on the table so far. This is a drop point blade in Oz 8, aluminum handle, and 2.8 inches. Now, this goes for $120 on the website. Definitely a little expensive for what you'd normally find with an Oz 8 blade, but really good action. A tried and true design from SOG. Nice deep carry pocket clip, and this one does have a lock on it. Now, this would be an example, in my opinion, where the lock is not as intuitive as you would find on some of the other knives. So this lock here, you fire on this side, but if you want to lock the knife, you have to fire it on the other side. So it's not as intuitive as some of the other knives that we've seen on the table, but could be a great option if you're looking for something that's got a lot of blade, nice deep carry pocket clip, and a lot of handle for good purchase. The other nice thing with this SOG is it does have good jimping along the back of the spine there. That allows you to get, again, just a really good purchase. And that goes, again, 120 bucks, $119.95 on the website. Now, stepping out of that SOG, we're gonna step into some kind of bigger automatic knives. And the first one that we have that's kind of falls in that bigger category is the Gerber Empower. Now, the Gerber Empower is 8.4 inches overall. You'll notice so far the biggest knife we've looked at with a 3.25 blade. So about the same blade you're gonna get on the Strike and the Kalashnikov, but a lot more handle and a lot more substance to the handle than any other knives that we've handled so far. It's got a Spearpoint S30V blade, aluminum and stainless steel handle, and this comes in at 4.6 ounces. So again, 4.6 ounces, starting to get up there a little bit. It's not a heavy knife by any means, but definitely a lot of knife. This one, the Empower does have a nice lock that's easy to engage or disengage right there where you would fire. And then this is made in Gerber's Portland facility, so made in the USA. Nice and snappy, great action. And this goes for $124.99 on the website. So definitely kind of a step up into that bigger knife category, into something that can easily be EDC, easily be tactical. Definitely leans more towards the EDC world. We do have some Gerbers on the table that are very strictly tactical. But the next one we're gonna look at is actually more of a traditional knife. So this is the Buck 112 Ranger. I love this knife. I love the Buck knives, especially these autos that they do. So overall length of 7.25 inches, the blade length of 3 inches, and this has got a 420HC clip point blade on it. This is a brass and wood handle, and it comes in at 5.9 ounces. So definitely a little bit of a heavier knife. It does come with a nice leather sheath that you can use to carry on your hip, or you could carry in your pocket. No lock on this knife, so it'd be your call. The reason that I love these knives is they're based off of a very classic Buck pattern. I mean, we all saw our grandpa had knives like these. And the cool thing is you'll notice with any of these other autos, we can use the Gerber as an example, you fire the knife that way, and then you hit the same firing button to close it. Now, with the Buck, they stuck with tradition. So you hit this button to fire it, but that's not the button you use to close it. You actually still use the lockback mechanism and close the knife just like that. Now granted, it can be really confusing if you're used to carrying other automatic knives, but there's just something about like staying with that heritage that I just really love. So made in the United States, again, this is made in Idaho. These are our neighbors just above us. Great little knife from Buck, goes for 140 bucks on the website. So stepping from tradition, we're gonna go now directly into high speed and then back to tradition. So the high speed knife is the ProTech Godson Automatic. Now this has got an overall length of 7.56 inches, 3.15 blade, so just over a 3-inch blade. 154 cm spear point blade on that, aluminum handle, and 2.9 ounces for the weight, so just about 3 ounces. Again, with ProTech, just incredible snap. All made in the United States, great milling, great machining, very high speed look on what is essentially a very classic Italian stiletto style pattern. Nice wide pocket clip and smooth design. The nice thing about this aluminum too is the coating that they've put on it has a bit of grip to it, so it's not a very slippery knife. Super classy knife, you could take and carry this anywhere, and this goes for $149.95 on the website. Now, like I said, kind of stepping out of that high speed back into tradition, we have the Buck 110 Auto. Now, the Buck 110 Auto, all the same things I said about the Buck 112, just a little bit bigger. So overall length is 8.6 inches. It's got a 3.75 inch blade, again, 420 HC blade, wooden brass handle, and then it comes in at 7.1 ounces. So again, bit of a bruiser, a bit of a heavy knife, comes with a very nice leather sheath, and patina's up really nice. This is the type of knife you can pass down. All the things I said about how it locks, how it fires, apply for the Buck 110 as it did for the Buck 112. Now the next knife on the table is a collaboration between Boker knives and ProTech knives. So Boker and ProTech, so Dave, who is, again, owner-operator of ProTech knives, and Karsten, who's the CEO of Boker Knives, they actually grew up together. So Karsten and Boker Knives, they're based out of Germany, but Dave and Karsten's father had a very close relationship, and so as a result, Dave and Karsten have a close relationship. And this is the Boker Burnley Kwaiken Kompakt Automatic Knife. That's the full name. So it's a compact Kwaiken made in conjunction with Lucas Burnley, Boker Knives, and ProTech knives. 7.125 inches, it's got a 3-inch blade, 154 cm blade steel, aluminum handle, and comes in at 2.96 ounces. So again, very similar to what we saw with the Godson. It's got a nice coating on that aluminum that allows it to not be too slippery. A little bit more of a stylized pocket clip, and that pocket clip kind of recesses with the screws and then pops out and over, which is really nice. And this is the compact version of the Kwaiken Auto. We do have full sizes of the Kwaiken Auto as well. But yeah, fits well, really nice in a medium-sized hand. Great little knife from Burnley, Boker, and ProTech. Now, as promised with the Gerber knives, that Kwaiken Compact Auto goes for $165 on the website. Now, as promised with Gerber, we kind of leaving that EDC world and we're tapping more into the tactical world. So this is the Gerber Covert. It's have an overall length of 8.7 inches, blade length of 7.8 inches, 3 3.7 inches. So very close to a 4-inch blade. It has an S30 spear point blade with an aluminum handle. Comes in at 3.8 ounces. So a fairly light knife for how much knife you're getting out of it. Now you'll see these signatures on the blade. So this is an Applegate design. So Applegate was a famous military instructor, taught a lot of knife fighting techniques and things of that nature, and so that's why you'll see that. Also has Fairbairn's name on it, similar style there. So a lot of billboarding on this blade, but if that doesn't put you off, it really is a nice knife. This particular one comes in multicam, does come in a couple different options. It comes in a mini and a regular, and then again, the lock is nice and out of the road on this one, but you're able to get to it easily when you want to. So Gerber Covert comes in right around $170 on the website. Again, made in Gerber's facility in Portland, Oregon. And then I think what is the last Gerber on the table, but very much a tactical knife, is the Gerber 06 Auto. Now, this thing is a chunk. 8.6 inches overall. It's got a 3.6 inch blade. That's a drop point S30V blade. Aluminum handle and comes in at 7.14 ounces. So this is a tried and true Gerber knife. And by tried and true, I mean this knife has been deployed thousands of times all over the world in different military operations, and it keeps coming back for more. We actually have a feature here on the website, or on the YouTube channel and on the website. If you want to check out and learn more about the 06 Auto, we have a whole history, a whole video about how awesome it is. Really big knife, nice and burly. I mean, this thing just kicks butt and keeps coming back for more. Nice and snappy, and again, a lock that doesn't get in the road, but it's there when you need it. Great knife from Gerber, 06 Auto. Like I said, if you want to learn more about this one, check out the videos we have here on the channel. Now, moving on from the 06 Auto, both of those knives very much in the tactical realm. We're kind of step back into that EDC realm. And this is the ProTech SBR. This is my personal favorite knife from ProTech. It's just such a beautiful knife. It's not too overstated, it's not too understated, it's not too delicate or too overbuilt, like just a wonderful knife. So overall length on this thing is 6.5 inches. It's got a blade length of 2.6 inches. That's a drop point blade in S35 VN, aluminum handle, and the weight comes in right around 3 ounces is really where it's at. 3.05 ounces, so we'll just call it 3 ounces. But yeah, they come smooth and with the knurling. I personally like the ones with the knurling. It gives me a little more purchase in hand. Really snappy action, nice deep carry pocket clip. This is a Les George design. Just amazing. Like the SBR, I don't know what else to say other than this is just an amazing knife. Like I said, my favorite knife from the ProTech lineup. Fits a medium-sized hand and a large hand really well, and you can pick those up on the website for $185. Stepping up in size just a little bit, we have the Hogue EX-A01. Now, this is an awesome entry from Hogue. Overall length of 8 inches, blade length of 3.5 inches. It's got a drop point blade in 154 cm. It's an aluminum handle, and it comes in at 4.6 ounces. So not a heavy knife, but definitely has some substance to it. And I love the lines of this knife. I think that it just looks really, really nice. At $194.99, lines of the knife are probably not the only reason you should be purchasing this thing. It is made in the USA. Hogue has an amazing lifetime warranty, and it's just a good, you can hear it here, just a good, snappy knife. And the great thing with Hogue, tried and true and tested. I personally own a handful of Hogues, and I can vouch for how well these knives are made. So if you're looking for something for a bigger hand, if you're looking for something that's gonna last you a long time, the Hogue EX-A01 is just a great knife for that. And again, comes in right around $195. Now, if you're watching this automatic knife buyer's guide just to see what's on the table, we've had some incredible stuff so far. And now we're about to jump into that 200 plus price range. And at 200 plus, you're gonna see your material quality is gonna increase quite a bit, and also your production quality is gonna increase depending on the brand. So for example, our first over $200 knife is the ProTech TR5. That's the Tactical Response 5 automatic knife from ProTech. Comes in at 210 bucks. It's got an overall length of 7.6 inches. It's got a 3.25 inch blade. That blade is S35 VN in a drop point formation, aluminum chassis, and 3.5 ounces in the weight. Now, with this, you get the fish scale pattern. The TR5, again, comes in a bunch of different patterns. We actually have a bunch of Blade HQ exclusives with the TR5. It's got a nice locking mechanism here that doesn't get in your road, but it's there when you need it. Nice deep carry pocket clip, and just a great design. It has these finger choils in it, which sometimes is a good thing, sometimes is a bad thing with a knife. Depending on your hand, a finger choil can put your fingers in a position that's not very comfortable. But the nice thing here is these aren't really deep finger choils, and so the reality is wherever you're holding it, it does feel comfortable in hand. But a great knife from ProTech, and again, goes for about 210 bucks. Stepping out of that ProTech, but kind of a similar profile, we're jumping into our first Benchmade automatic knife. Now, this is actually a fairly new entry from Benchmade. Not the pattern, but the fact that it's an automatic knife. And I actually think that this knife does the automatic locking mechanism better than I think almost any other knife on the table, and I'll show you why in a second. So this is the Benchmade Osborne 9400. If you're new to knives, make sure to check out the Benchmade 940, which is exactly what this knife is based on, just not automatic. So if you can't have an automatic knife where you live, you've made it a really far way into an automatic knife buyer's guide. But also, this has a manual knife that you can purchase if you like the looks of it. This goes for $229.95, so basically 230 bucks on the website. An overall length of 7.8 inches, a blade length of 3.4 inches. This is what they call a reverse Tonto blade in S30V, an aluminum chassis, and 2.65 ounces. So a pretty nice and light knife for how long it is. Now it is a slender knife, as you can see. Nice pocket clip. They've kept the purple and green cues that you'll find on the original Benchmade 940, and they've translated that over to the 9400. And then just nice action. There are two Benchmade autos on the table, and this thing is really, really snappy. I would say out of all the Benchmade automatic knives you could purchase, this one has the most snap. Now, on to the lock. I made a big claim about this thing, mentioning how I think it's one of the smoothest locks on the table. And you'll notice there's no lock here, there's no lock here, it's a spine lock. So the lock is right here on the spine, and the nice thing about that is that not only is the lock on the spine, but it also has a bit of jimping on it. So not only does the lock act as a lock, and it's super easy to get to, especially if you're already in that open position, but it also helps you get more purchase on the knife, which isn't really an issue with the 9400, because similar to the 940, or exactly like the 940, the coating that they put on this aluminum is kind of a matte coating, and it's got a really good feel to it. Really nice purchase, similar to what I talked about on those ProTechs earlier. So Benchmade 9400, not 940. Great entry from Benchmade. Came out this year, so it's a new entry, but it's really neat to see a classic design like that put into an automatic and done so well. There was no afterthought with that. All right, and next up we have a knife company that is super famous for their OTF knives. They're out the front automatic knives, and they have some really great side openings. We chose the LUDT to represent Microtech. So this is Microtech LUDT, overall length of 8 inches, a blade length of 3.3 inches. This comes in an M390 blade in a drop point style, aluminum chassis, and comes in at 3.62 ounces, so really nice. You'll notice that a lot of the knives on the table come in aluminum, and that is so they can mill out the spring area for the springs easier, and it's also so they can keep the weight down because you are adding extra weight in that pivot area with the different mechanisms that you're adding to the knife. Now, with Microtech, you have to be careful because they trade around their blade steels a lot. And that's not necessarily a bad thing. They never throw in a bad blade steel. But this knife can come in LMAX, it can come in M390, it can come in 20CV, it can come in a bunch of different blade steels. So pay attention to the website. The one that you buy on the website, the blade steel it says on the website, may not be the one you get, because honestly, Microtech is changing their blade steels in and out all the time. But like I said, the great thing is they are always a premium blade steel. It's always a blade steel you're gonna want on your knife. But really great snappy action. I mean, you wouldn't expect anything else from Microtech. This particular one comes with a lanyard. You can extend your grip on. It can make it easier to get out of the pocket. Will fit a medium to large hand, no problem. You do have kind of this forward choil and this backward, I wouldn't call it a choil, but kind of this shape in the knife that does put your hand in a particular position. I've got about a medium-sized hand, fits great there. And then Microtech is also well known for having a ton of variations, a ton of different blade finishes. This particular one has kind of this neat stonewash pattern with the purple handle, kind of a unique color for Microtech. but you can get them in all sorts of flavors. Check the website for which one might suit your fancy the most. And that comes in at $238. So at $238, you might as well get one that you like the way it looks. All right, our next knife on the table, our second to last knife on the table, is another Benchmade. This is my personal favorite Benchmade automatic knife, I think ever. I like the 9400, the snap on it is incredible. This is the Benchmade Mediator. The Mediator does not snap as hard or as fast as the 9400, but it still has a really, really great action to it. I just love the way it looks. I love the way it feels in hand, everything about it. It's got a 7.75 inch overall length, a 3.3 inch blade. The blade is the same reverse Tonto that you'll find on the 9400 in an S90V, and G10 handle with, and the total weight is just under 3 ounces. So this knife really changes it up a lot from some of the different knives that we've shown on the table. This is a G10 handle. It's got an S90V blade, so the edge retention on this thing is crazy. I've had mine for a long time, and I think I've touched up the edge maybe once, and I've had it since SHOT Show, I think. So just a wonderful knife. You get this nice deep carry pocket clip. The styling on the G10 does give it pretty good purchase in hand, and then a two-way reversible pocket clip, so you can carry it on. You can carry the pocket clip on 2 different sides. Nice lock that doesn't get in the way. Like I said, it's an important feature with any automatic knife is that you can get to the lock when you need it, but it's not in the road when you don't need it. Overall, just a great knife. Now, one thing I will say about the reverse Tonto blade shape, they're not the greatest piercing knife. So if you find that you need to do a lot of piercing, if you're the type of box you're opening or the type of letters you're opening or whatever you're doing with your knife, you find that you need a good piercing knife, the reverse Tonto, in my experience, is not the best piercing knife. But this Mediator has found a lot of pocket time. I've really enjoyed it. Now, we couldn't do an automatic knife buyer's guide without showing you guys at least one custom knife. And if we're gonna show it one custom automatic knife, there really is only one company that is really gonna give you that full custom flavor, that full custom experience, and that's ProTech. So like I mentioned earlier, we really stepped up out of that budget game into that first ProTech, into that ProTech Sprint, and we're really gonna step out of this production game with this one example of a ProTech custom. So this is the ProTech Custom Magic BR1 Whiskers. Everything about this knife is incredible. Now, I will say they do make a production model of this knife, so I wanna show you guys how you open and close this thing. So as you can see, there doesn't seem to be any obvious firing mechanism. Well, that's because the bolster itself is the firing mechanism. So you slide the bolster over, and that's what releases the knife. That's how you close the knife as well. But this particular knife, 7.25 inches overall, 3.125 inch blade. This is a Damascus, special Damascus pattern blade in a drop point pattern. Full titanium construction, comes in at 4.12 ounces. I mean, everything about this thing is just beautiful. You have the mother of pearl inlay, you've got the anodized aluminum, you've got all of this work that's been done on the finish here. It's kind of this orange peel finish, this beautifully milled pocket clip. We talked to Dave over at ProTech one time about how long it took to make one of these custom knives, and he said that basically from the start of the process all the way to the finish of this thing, it takes about a year to make one of these knives, which is pretty incredible. There's a lot of work that goes into this. And I think I actually misspoke. I said this is a mother of pearl inlay. This is actually an abalone inlay. They do have a mother of pearl as well, but this one is abalone. So really cool knife from ProTech. Like I said, stepping out of the production world into the custom world, this thing goes for $1,000. So our automatic knife buyer's guide couldn't be complete without showing you guys kind of that next level collector's piece. Just a beautiful, beautiful knife. So great knife from ProTech, and just beautiful work from Dave and all the people over there. All right, so this has been our automatic knife buyer's guide. There are a lot of knives on the table. At the beginning of this thing, I said, if you're looking for an automatic knife, you're gonna find it here, and that is truly the case. All the links are down in the description for everything that you've seen. Let us know what your favorite automatic knife is. Let us know if you could have any knife on the table, which one would it be? Don't make the obvious choice. I mean, we all want the BR1 Magic Whiskers, obviously, but what other knife on the table would you choose if you could? And that's all we got for you guys. We'll catch you on the next one. Thanks for checking out our video, guys. Make sure to hit subscribe to see more awesome knife content. Check out bladehq.com for all of your automatic knife needs. And we have a sweet playlist down below where you can see tons more content like this. Catch you on the next one.